YouTube, it's me, Birdie, and I'm here with my Winter Prospective TBR. Now, unlike the past two that I did for summer and then for fall, this one I do not have a lot of books that I desperately want to read, and a lot of these are going to be books that I want to reread, because usually during December, this is the time where I like to reread some of my favorite books. So let's just get into the books that I want to read for the winter months. Now, my two priorities are to reread the Harry Potter books in the illustrated edition, so basically Sorcerer's Stone, Chamber of Secrets, and Prisoner of Azkaban during these months, and I already started reading Sorcerer's Stone, so I'm definitely going to get to that. The other priority for me is to reread the Percy Jackson and the Olympians, the Heroes of Olympus, and also the Magnus Chase series, so that way after the Magnus Chase I can read the third book and finally complete this series. And I'd also like to get to the Trials of Apollo because I know his new book for that series is coming out early next year. I want to say either March or May, so I definitely want to get to that. If I can, I'd love to reread his Kane Chronicles, which is the Egyptian mythology series, but if I don't get to that, I'm not too bothered. But those are my main priorities. Get to Harry Potter illustrated editions and get to the first two series by Rick Riordan and also the Magnus Chase series. Now after that, I really don't have much that I desperately, again, want to read. And honestly, I'm just going to say right here, if you have any adult fantasy recommendations or any good fantasy novels from any reading level that you recommend I read, I would love to get them because I am in the mood for a good fantasy series. One that's already completed, that I don't have to wait for any of the books to come out, but that is like high fantasy novel or series, preferably a series, because I just want to get into a new series because I feel like I haven't found a good fantasy series since I read the Inheritance series, which is one of the books I would love to get to, or one of the series that I would love to reread this winter if I have a chance. So yeah, if you have any fantasy novels or series that you recommend that are finished, please let me know. I am dying to pick up any fantasy novel. Some of the other books that I would, or series that I would like to reread are The Lord of the Rings, including The Hobbit, which I have never read The Hobbit. I read all of the Lord of the Rings books, but I would like to get to those at some point. Like I said before, The Inheritance Cycle by Christopher Paolini, which I read years ago. I think I read the last book my senior year of high school, so it's been 4 years. So I'd like to get back to that. I'd like to reread The Mysterious Benedict Society by Trenton Lee Stewart as well, because there was a fourth book that came out that I haven't gotten to yet and I would like to read it. And also I'd just like to get back into the story. Now, as for other books that are kind of on my radar, they're kind of all over the place. First is I want to get my hands on those Star Wars books that are in the nice editions that I find at BAM. I'll of course include pictures for everything here. But I really would like to get into those because I would love to start reading some of the Star Wars books, which again, if you have any suggestions for Star Wars books I should read, and in what particular order, please let me know as well. I would love to know, because as with the Marvel comics, I have no idea where to start, even though I desperately want to read the books because I know I'd be a fan of them, but I have no idea where to start. So if you can suggest a good place to start, please let me know. I'd also like to read A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens, because of course Christmas is coming around and I'd like to get a little bit into the spirit, but we'll see if I actually get to that. In the same vein, I'd like to read The Little Match Girl by Hans Christian Andersen, Letters from Father Christmas by J.R.R. Tolkien, The Snow Queen by Hans Christian Andersen, Hercule Poirot's Christmas by Agatha Christie, and The Adventure of the Christmas Pudding by Agatha Christie, because they're all kind of Christmas related. Now, some other random books that I just want to read are, I want to start reading Robin Hobb's books because she's very much a fantasy writer, and one of my friends read a couple of her books and really enjoyed them, so I would like to read them as well. I'd like to get to Every Heart a Doorway by Shannon McGuire because I've heard a lot about it on BookTube. It sounds interesting, and I'd like to see if I enjoy it as well. The School for Good and Evil by Soman Chinani. This is a fantasy middle grade book, I believe, and again, I just want to get into a nice, good fantasy series, and I've heard this on BookTube as well. Forrest Gump by Winston Groom. No real reason other than I know the movie and I kind of want to read the book. Out of the Silent Planet by C.S. Lewis. This is Lewis's other series, but it is more science fiction rather than religious fantasy. So I'd like to start that. I'd like to read Brandon Sanderson's book because, like Robin Hobb, he is a fantasy writer that I've heard good things about, and I would like to get into that. The Snow Child by Ewan Ivy. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but I'm pretty sure this was just on my Goodreads want to read list, and it seems like it fits in with the whole winter Christmassy theme, so I put it on my list. I finally want to get to the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy series by Douglas Adams, and I'm hoping I'll actually finish that. I mean, I know during the summer or end of summer, beginning of autumn, I did take it out of the library, but before I could get to it, I had to return it, so I'm hoping I can finally read that because I feel like that's a sci-fi book I would enjoy. Even though I said I want to read fantasy books that are finished and completed, I do want to read The Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss. I had this on my list in the summer, couldn't find it, but I still am interested to read it because, again, it is fantasy. It's just not finished, and that, though, is one of the things that might put me off reading it because it's been like 10 years since the second book, I guess, came out, and I can't wait that long for the third book. And then finally, I want to read Red Rising by Pierce Brown. Again, this is a fantasy series that I've heard about on BookTube and is kind of on my radar, so I thought this might be a good time to check it out. But anyway, again, that is my list as of now for the books I want to read in December. I might not stick to it. All I really care about sticking to is reading the Harry Potter illustrated editions and also reading the books by Rick Riordan. But if you guys have any fantasy or sci-fi series that you recommend, please leave them in the comments down below because, again, I am looking for a good finished series to kind of curl up by the fire to read. But yeah, that's this video. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.